Hello there everyone, welcome back to another Cardfight Vanguard video. This is going to be probably the penultimate one of these videos for a little while. Today we're going to be talking about Magic World and 100 Demons, so this is my absolute peak excitement video. And then I think we're going to be probably about 2 weeks until we see, basically, I'm going to wait until we see Azzy, till we see like all the rarities and stuff, and then also till maybe we understand a bit about the pull rates in the set. So hopefully we'll have all that information obviously in the next few weeks. We definitely will, because the set's out in like just under 3. So we will see. They are really making us wait for all these cards. One other interesting thing, and also maybe I'll kind of go through my spreadsheet and we can talk about all the different, maybe there'll be some interesting things we can talk about, but this set is looking a lot bigger than they said it was going to be. They said it was going to be 120 cards. I think at the moment we're already at 130 something, and we haven't even got the iron cards yet. So my guess is probably closer to 140 in the set, which would make it one of the biggest Vanguard sets in years, which is crazy. But let's go ahead and jump into it. So we're going to start off with Magic World, which weirdly is the less exciting one for me, even though, I mean, I think it's actually very, very cool. So we start off with Want to Make the World Crazy About Him, Kurodake Tetsuya. So this is the grade 3, has Persona Ride, continuous Vanguard Circle. During each turn you may play an order twice, and you cannot play an order with the same name during this turn. So this is interesting. It's kind of, so what I was expecting was unlimited orders on your turn and then no buff on your opponent's turn. This is 2 on your turn and 2 on your opponent's turn. At the moment, we don't really have any orders we can use on the opponent's turn, so I think we're still sort of waiting to see those. My guess is some of those will overlap with 100 Demons. But anyway, this is a very interesting first effect, so we're going to be doing lots of orders. Okay, fine. Also, when this unit enters the Vanguard Circle, choose an add up to 1 normal order or set order from your drop to your hand. Okay, cool. Great spell, Saturday Night Devil Fever, auto Vanguard Circle. When this unit attacks, counterblast 1. Choose up to 1 grade 1 and below non-sentinel 72 pillars from your drop. Call it onto the rearguard circle. That's flat. So that's active from the moment you're on grade 3. So even if your opponent is not on grade 3, this is active, which is obviously quite good. So you're 4 attacks on that first grade 3 ride. But if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3, instead you can pay the cost with Counterblast 1 and return 2 72 pillars from your drop zone to the bottom of your deck. And if you do, call 2 instead. So this is actually really, really big. One of the major issues with these Buddyfight decks is they are just decking out. Like, that is a genuine issue. The fact that this is putting cards back to the bottom of the deck is potentially going to buy you that 1 extra turn to just do 1 extra push, which can get you there. So this is an amazing plus like value engine. The fact this is on attack means it's potentially 5 attacks if you call out 2 separate grade 1s. That's not really what you're going to do. It's actually going to be, it is going to be 5 attacks, but it's going to be big columns instead, so it's even better. You will sort of get to when you see the support. But yeah, overall, this is a great grade 3, enables some really, really interesting plays. Yeah, really, really cool. Let's look at the next triple rare, which is Art of Body Duplication Asmodai. So activate rear, cost, retire this unit, choose and add up to 1 card with Asmodai in its name, grade equal to or lower than your Vanguard, with a different name as this card from your drop. It plays it out onto the rearguard circle. So I believe you pay the cost. Yeah, it's cool. So I believe you pay the cost. So this is actually, I believe, a triple D card. So for some reason that's in 100, but you know what? Not complaining. This card is obviously amazing. Going to let you tutor for whichever Asmodai you want. So yeah, we like that. And then our final triple rare is Nice One, which is great. It's pay a gauge, draw 2. We know this card is insane. This is going to be a staple 4 of. I'm quite sad that this isn't the alternate art from Starter Deck 7, but whatever. Okay, onto the double rares, and this is the next kind of build around piece of this deck, which is second Omni Demon Lord Asmodai. So call cost, pay 2 gauge. Continuous rear, you cannot call units with the same name as this card. Okay, so it's going to be, you only have 1. If you have a grade 3 and above Vanguard with Tetsuya, this gains plus 10k. That's on both players' turns. So this is going to be 23k. Okay, so he's big. Continuous rear. When this unit leaves the rearguard circle, put the top card of your deck into the damage zone. Okay, that's lifelink. That's not great. Double attack. Auto, rear once per turn after the battle this unit attacks, and your grade 3 and above Vanguard is stand, counterblast 1, and stand this unit. Okay, so it's 23-23. And finally, auto rear after the battle this unit attacks a rearguard, retire the unit attacked by this unit. I think this is actually missing some of its text. This is missing some of its text. So this has another blanket protection ability. When it would leave the rearguard circle, you may discard a card, and if you do, it stays. So that's a very important effect that's not on this translation for some reason, but you need to know that that is there. I don't know if it's been shifted around or something, but yeah. So this card is your second build around. This card is insane, right? So it's double attacking. It's basically impossible to remove because you just pitch one, so you're either gonna, so it's always gonna be one card to keep this guy around, which is gonna make it very, very hard to remove. So you're basically never really gonna have to deal with it downside. For what it's worth, you do have access to self damage if you want to call over this. For what it's worth, that is something you can do. I don't know how often you're going to actually want to do that, but it is an option to play around sort of a damaged knife. So, it's an option. But yeah, overall, this card is absolutely insane. This is a crazy grade 3 build around. Which we're sort of going to see again. We're going to see even to a greater extent with 100 Demons how build around the grade 3 the deck is. But yeah, this is obviously incredible. So this is your 5 attacks now. It's going to be 1 with Asmodai, he restands, 1 with your rearguard column, and then you swing with Tetsuya, call a whole new column over the other rears, and then you swing with Asmodai and you swing with the rears again. So you got some pretty big swings. We've got Dance Asmodai, who's costs a gauge, and when he enters, you draw 1. It's not bad. Somehow, the original Buddy Asmodai is double rare, which to me basically guarantees that double rares will be available in Buddy rares, but not confirmed yet. We'll see. But here we go. So Demon Lord Asmodai. When this unit enters the rearguard circle, counterblast 1 and choose one of the following. Choose an opponent's circle, retire all rearguards on that circle. Search and reveal up to 172 pillar order from your deck, add it to your hand, and shuffle the deck. Okay, so I think realistically, you're probably not going to be doing that very often, but it's nice to have. It's like a nice to have ability. Auto rear, when this unit attacks a grade 3 and above, if you have a grade 3 and above Vanguard with Tetsuya in its name, this gains 5k, and in addition, if there is a second only Demon Lord Asmodai, you gain plus 10k. So this is obviously going to be your go-to attacker, so you can sort of see the way this is working is you keep looping Demon Lord Asmodais with your Tetsuya ability, and you're going 5th Omni Asmodai, Demon Lord Asmodai, and you're doing these nice big swings. Now the final sort of build around for you to understand, I think the power level of this deck is going to be Noisy Dance Room, and this is a critical important tool here. So this is a grade 3 set order spell, continuous order zone. If you have a grade 3 and above Vanguard with Tetsuya in its name, all 72 pillars in your front row gain intercept and 5k. So this is a blanket buff to your front row, not your Vanguard though. And then activate order zone once per turn, pay a gauge, choose and bounce 72 pillars in your rear guard back to your hand. So this card is amazing because this is just going to sit there every single turn. You play one of these and your board gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, realistically, you're probably only going to actually play 2 to 3 of these over the course of a game. But this is an amazing card. You're going to want to play 4 copies of it. It's like absolutely staple. Buffs your whole board, basically. And also gives you that utility of like just adding stuff back to your hand for gauge, which you have lots of ways of generating. Okay, let's play Asmodai. So this guy, when he enters, you get to choose one of your Asmodais from drop and put it into gauge, and then when it intercepts, it gains plus 5k. So this is a better one to be playing in sort of that early game. It's a nice little value piece as well, just to give you back gauge if you need it. So yeah, just a solid card. Then we've got Eligos, who's just the standard Sentinel. Devil Advantage. Pay 1 gauge, choose 2 non-sentinel normal units with 72 pillars from your drop. If 2 were chosen, add a hand. I think these need to be the same. I think that's another mistranslation. I believe it needs to be the exact same, the same name. But obviously this is great. You just, go grab any 2 pieces that you sort of need, or just you go +1. I don't know how many of this you'll actually play, but it's just a nice like sort of +1 to have. And then we got Solomon's Shield here. So this is this is the only blitz order we've seen so far. So obviously baffling at the moment as to why you're getting it on both players' turns. We clearly have some blitz orders still to be revealed. So this has Sentinel, cost, discard a card, choose your units, cannot be hit, and then add a normal order from your drop to your hand. So this is great. You just recycle your nice one for the next turn. Obviously this is very, very good. Somehow I think the Katana World one is still a bit better, but this is obviously like incredibly good. Diabolical Hardcore. This is our impact. Grade 1 normal order impact. This is 72 pillars traded, so it is searchable by Asmodai. Continuous, you cannot play this card. If you have not resolved any impact order ability during this fight, you may use the ability. Also hand, at the end of your turn, if there are 4 or less cards in your opponent's damage zone, and you have 3 or more 72 pillar rear guards, discard this card, pay 3 gauge, declare final phase, burn 1. That's good. You probably play 1 or 2 copies of this. I don't know how consistent this is going to be, and 3 gauge is a little hefty, because you do obviously need 2 gauge for your 5th Omni Lord Asmodai, which you're going to be probably trying to get out as soon as possible. So sort of remains to be seen. But obviously this is like a burn 1 impact is obviously going to be very, very solid. Demon Sommelier Zagan, when it enters rear, the next time you play an order, you reduce its cost by 1 gauge. So that's quite nice. You just do something for free, maintain some gauge. I don't know that you will actually have the space for this card, realistically. Like, you are really grade 1 maxing, and your grade 1s are kind of swinging for much better numbers anyway, so, how much do you care? And then we've got winner of dance contest, Tetsuya, so this is your grade 2. When you ride grade 3, look at the top 7, add a 72 pillars and dump a 72 pillars. So you basically add 2 because whatever else you can get back with the with your grade 3. And then your grade 1, when rode upon by the grade 2, look at the top 5 and add a 72 pillars to hand. So these are all basically allowing you to go neutral with ride deck costs, so this is obviously great. Bower, this is when it enters rear, you can gauge 1. And then if you do, you put this unit into the drop zone at the end of the turn. Not 100% sure you'll need this. We have Let's Play, and you're really going to be Asmodee maxing in this deck, so I think that's probably what you want to be doing. But we will be playing 4 copies of Gamagan, because when it enters rear, you pay a gauge, search a set order, add it to your hand. And then obviously there is the Magic World flag as well. We've got a couple of triggers as well. Let's talk about those. We also got Great Spells, Devil's Rock and Roll. So this costs 2 gauge. Look at the top 5 cards, add up to 2 72 pillars, and shuffle the deck. So just go plus. I'm not convinced you will play this because it's a fairly hefty cost, but it's that sort of redundancy, right? So you might just play 1 copy of a lot of these random orders just so you are playing 2 a turn and you're getting the maximum value possible. Mind of Hardcore, if you have 2 or more 72 pillar rear guards, put 3 72 pillars from your drop into your gauge face down. I suspect you'll play this just as another one you can use and really gain you lots and lots of gauge, so you can be doing stuff like playing the impact. And then we have the triggers. So we've got Trio here, which costs a counterblast, and you can call a non-sentinel unit from your drop onto your rearguard circle. So that's actually quite nice. And then it's a 15k guard. Bastion Caps, which is a 15k guard, and you can pay 2 gauge to retire one of your opponent's grade 2 and above rearguards. Then we've got Key of Solomon first and second volume. So the second volume, you can only play it if you've played first volume, and it countercharges 1, and it's a 15k draw trigger, I think. Yeah, it's a 15k draw trigger. No, it's a it's a 5k draw trigger. I don't know what maths I was doing there. And then we've got Key of Solomon's second volume. Also, I'm really sorry, my mic is just my camera is just being a bit annoying, so I'm just going to turn it off temporarily. The first volume is your front trigger, which gives you 2 gauge from the top of your deck, and then it's a 15k shield. So this is the classic. That's exactly what that sort of combo was back at the start. And then we have our heal trigger here in Chillax, which is during your opponent's guard step. It's 15k, and then when it's placed on Guardian, you can pay 1 gauge to get when your unit gets attacked during this battle, it gains plus 5k, and you lose the ability. So the next time you also gain plus 5k, and it's only a gauge. So I think Chillax is actually really, really nice. You definitely are gonna like. I don't know how many other heal options we're going to get, and I'll sort of come back to the spreadsheet in a moment because we probably will. But yeah, Chillax is really, really good. So that's that is the Magic World stuff. Before I talk about that overall, I guess let's just do 100 Demons because I want to talk about them, and then we'll sort of go from there. So 100 Demons are very, very interesting because this is a very cute way where it seems like they're basically just going to represent every single world in this booster through 100 Demons. So we start off with a Katana World triple rare, which in Bushiroad's typical fashion, oh gosh, okay, hold on, it's trolled here. Let's not auto-translate. There we go. If Bushiroad is trolled because this card is completely insane and it's very usable in both Katana World and 100 Demons, so we've got a lot of competition for this. What does this do? It's a grade 1 normal order. You may play it from your drop. Right? Cost, pay a gauge to play, bind this card, draw 1, search and discard up to 1 Thundermine unit from your deck, and if you have 3 or more in your damage zone, draw 1. So this is a nice one, right? This is better nice one in the deck. This is absolutely crazy. You will be playing this as much as possible. Yeah, this is nuts. Very, very powerful card. Okay, here's the build around, and this is the reason the deck is good. Great Fiend Yamigeto. So, sorry, let me just make sure you can read the full text. Okay, so... core cost, pay 2 gauge, and put 1 or more and up to 3 rear guards with 100 Demons into its Buddy Soul. Continuous on rear. This unit gains all Thundermine in its Buddy Soul. Okay, so exactly the same as Yamigeto was. Auto on your rear. At the start of your main phase, choose and put 1 Thundermine from your drop into this card's Buddy Soul. Okay, great. So we are going to be able to keep on. Not from deck, so it's not quite rebeat here, but it's still really, really powerful. And then this card has Thundermine once per turn. When your unit's attack did not hit and you have an Ikazuchi Vanguard, during this turn, your opponent's Vanguard gains minus 5k. So this is insane. Okay, well, also double attack once per turn. After the battle, this unit attacks, and you have a grade 3 and above Vanguard in stand. Counterblast 1, stand this unit, and it has Soul Guard. Okay, so basically, removing this unit is going to be extremely challenging because it's going to be coming in with 3 soul, and so you have to kill it 4 times. Very, very unlikely to happen. Possible, but very, very unlikely. There are no downsides, really, when it does die, so that's another thing where you kind of don't really care. The thing that's going to be very, very crazy about this card is when you stack multiple copies. So first off, unlike Omni Lord Asmodai, there is no limit to the number of cards number of this card you can have on the field. So you can very, very easily get 2 of these set up, but also have themselves in the soul from drop zone. And so you can end up with this situation where if you've got 4 of these on the board, you attack, your opponent like counters the attack, and then suddenly they get minus 20k. So that is your best case. Obviously, on top of that, you're going to be able to use all the other Thunder Mines, but that is your best case on your turn offensively. That is incredibly good. This card is insane. It's completely broken, and it's basically the only reason this deck is good. Because outside of this, the units are pretty dire, but this unit is so broken, and it's such an obvious buddy choice that, like, yeah, this is absolutely incredible. Really, really, really good. And you're going to be more than happy to just discard these, right? Because you're just going to sit there and just jam more and more into your soul. This deck is going to get very, very scary after, like, on turn 4. Okay, let's have a look at the grade 3 Ikazuchi so we understand what that does. So Lightning of the Beginnings, Thunder of the End, Ikazuchi, cool name. So activate main once per turn. Counterblast 1. Choose up to 2 non-sentinel units with 100 demons without Yamigeto in its name and that have different names from your drop and call them onto your rearguard circle. So not having Yamigeto is meaningful because basically the best units have Yamigeto, but whatever. So this is just a plus, like you just plussed a board. Okay, that's amazing. Obviously, you're going to be soaking all of those units up into Yamigeto's soul, so that's why they're doing it. But this is going to let you rebuild, so that's nice. You also have ways of sacking your units, which we'll sort of come on to. But okay, this is good. And then 100 Demon Sorcery, Evil Pulse, once per turn, pay a gauge, retire opponent's rearguard. That's pretty good. That's just a nice little bonus ability to have there. You'll probably actually end up using that more, if I had to guess, because you probably only really do this revive to like set up one time and then you're kind of done. But anyway, next we have... so now we've got... there's a bunch of set orders in this deck, but they kind of have the best searcher in the world for them, which is the next card, but we'll come on to it in a moment. So Thundermine Stance continues. You can only have one of these. Activate Order Zone once per turn. Pay 1 gauge. Choose up to 1 grade 2 and below card with Thundermine from your drop and call it onto your rearguard circle. And if your Vanguard is grade 3 and above, during this turn, that unit gains plus 5k. Okay, so now we are able to call 3 units out from drop a turn. So there's basically no cost at all to making that Yamigeto ability go off. Okay, cool. This is probably the worst one. Let's talk about... User of Darkness Dunstan, because this guy is completely busted. So grade 2, core cost, pay 1 gauge. Also, when this unit enters rearguard circle, search up for up to 100 demons, set order from your deck, drop or face up damage zone, put it onto the order zone, and if you search the deck, shuffle it. If you place from damage zone, you put the top card of your deck into the damage zone. So this is crazy. This means this lets you one of all of your orders. It tutors everything. Basically, as long as they are not exactly in your starting gauge, you are absolutely fine, and you can obviously just pay that gauge off to start off with. Like, one thing to note is if we go up to Ikazuchi, and my laptop's beginning to chug as it tends to do, this does not require you to call out Thunder Mines. So what you can very easily do is get all 3 out immediately if you set up your drop with one of these, and then you play 1 from hand, sack it off with one of your abilities, or even just call over it, and then just counterblast 1. Bring out 2, and then boom, your order zone's going to have all 3 of the orders. So we'll talk about what those orders are as we come to them, but yeah, this card is absolutely nuts, just super, super, super good. Okay, then we have got Eliminator Glacial Avalus, and this is another one of your key pieces. This is another one of the best cards in the deck. So Thundermine, once per turn, when the power of your opponent's rearguard gets reduced by the ability of your Thundermine, and you have an Ikazuchi Vanguard, during this turn, the opponent's unit gains an additional minus 5k. And then counterblast 1 to draw if you want. So basically what this means is we are still waiting to see, but I'm sure we will get a very consistent way to just give something minus 5k on your opponent's turn as a Thundermine. like one of your opponent's units. And once that happens, Gladiolabalus is just going to make that minus 25k, right? Because you just set up 4 of these, and that's going to be really, really easy to do. So once you've like, well, okay, not really easy, but that's the goal, right? You get 4 of these set up. Suddenly, your opponent's units are getting like minus 25k. Your opponent's Vanguard's getting like, well, let's come on to that. Let's look at the next card, and then you sort of have the full maximum potential. So Hasted Evolution Yamigeto. This card has Yamigeto in its name for a reason, because I think they didn't want you being able to revive these really easily. Thundermine, when your opponent's grade 3 and above Vanguard attacks, and if you have an Ikazuchi Vanguard, that attacking unit gains minus 5k. So this is going to be very interesting. I'm not 100%. So, well, first off, this is insane. Relatively big is noting that Jackknife shuts off your offensive use of this card, which obviously sucks, but it does not shut off your defensive use of this card, so you are going to like nuke down the Jackknife's power like really considerably. So I think like you're going to make things really, really like nightmarishly difficult for a lot of decks. If you set up multiple of these, like this is insane, right? Just give minus 20 gauge to your opponent's Vanguard during this turn for free. Like, yeah, this is another one of those super, super good power cards. So like you can sort of see the defensive capabilities between this and Gladiolabalus. If your opponent's using a restanding rearguard, you nuke that power down massively, you nuke your opponent's Vanguard power down massively, and suddenly you're able to like really easily defend yourself. And then on your turn, you can apply quite a lot of offensive pressure for very little cost. So yeah, I think this deck is looking really, really exciting. There's a bunch more stuff, but I think really what's going to be exciting is when you see the support orders. So, well, okay, come on, we can do it. So next up, we have got Dragonite Force. So this is just your PG. Then we've got Ghetto Shield, which is your other Sentinel. So this is the usual. If you have Parade of 100 Demons on your order zone, cost discard 1 to play. So you can only play this in Parade of 100 Demons. Choose one of your units, it will not get hit, and then remove it. And then in addition, you can pay a gauge, choose one of your opponent's rear guards to give it minus 5k. So this is actually very, very relevant. Actually, I didn't clock this until now, because this can combo with your Thundermine to massively nuke down opponent's power. Unfortunately, this is not Thundermine. I wish it was Thundermine, but there we go. Okay, then we've got Starved Yamigeto. So we'll come on, we can do it. So Starved Yamigeto. So this is another one of your grade 3, your set orders, so there's one more to come after this. You can only have 1 Starved Yamigeto. Order Zone. When this card gets placed, or when you reveal a card during damage check, or when your unit gets retired from rearguard circle, choose and put up to 100 demons from your drop into your gauge face down. So basically, you're not going to run out of gauge. Yeah, this is obviously extremely good. You're going to want to get this like ASAP. Then we've got this interesting card, which I think we need to see the interaction between this and like Starved Yamigeto to see how good it is, but this could be crazy. So when it enters, you top 2 gauge, and then activate rear, not once per turn, pay 3 gauge, choose and retire an opponent's rear guard. I'm very curious to see how much you can spam this. Like, can you just board nuke your opponent when this comes in? Like, is it going to be that easy to gain loads of gauge with Starved Yamigeto? We'll see. And then also, this is just a 15k attacker. So just a generally pretty solid card. Okay, so we got a Thundermine here for when your opponent plays a normal order. Then we have got our final one of the set orders, which is Shrine of the Corrupted Fujigami. You can only have 1 of these, and once per turn, when your rearguard with Thundermine enters, you draw 1. So just a great advantage engine that you're basically going to be able to set up here. Then we've got Thunderclaw Narukami. This is a very good card. So it's a grade 3 normal order item, Arm. You may play this card from your drop. And continuous from Vanguard Circle. During your turn, all units in your front row gain plus 5k, and then activate Vanguard once per turn. Choose one of your rear guards. Choose one of your rear guards. If chosen, retire that unit. During this turn, your Vanguard gains plus 1 crit. So one interesting thing I'll be very curious to see is how much you can loop this card, right? Like, because it can be played from drop, and I'm pretty sure arming an order doesn't count as your once per turn order. Can you just like play this twice? Like play it twice out once you get like more than one of them in there, and then like because when you arm it sends the other one to the drop, and you sack 2 of your units, and then you just 3 crit. Like that's going to be something that's going to be very, very interesting to see, because I think that's a huge power play. And even if you can't, I think it's like insane. This card is super, super good. Okay, then we have got Poisonous Water Dragon Zazamera. This is Thundermine for a grade 2 rearguard enters. Then we have got a heal trigger, destructive power Riger. Choose one of your rear guards. If you choose one, retire it, countercharge. So the fact this deck gets countercharge is obviously very, very important. That's a lot of counterblasting you're doing with your ideal setup of like double Yamigeto. So this is really, really good to have. And then during your opponent's guard step, it's 15k. Trigger, so that's good. Then we've got Paluda, who is a Thundermine for a grade 1 rearguard that enters. So, you know, your GOAT against Asmodee decks. This is going to be very, very funny against those. Our grade 2 gets the top 5 and you add a Thundermine. And our grade 1 looks at the top 7 and dumps any of them to trash. So you're going to be able to set up. And then obviously we've got our flag parade of 100 demons. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of a yap sesh about how good I think these cards are. So overall, I think both of these decks are like amazing. These are like super, super good. I have to say I'm obviously a lot more excited about 100 Demons, but I think these are like both really, really strong. I think my concern with the Magic World deck is it doesn't really have a huge amount of countercharging at the moment, so sort of need to wait and see whether or not it's going to get that, because obviously you need to be doing a good amount of counterblasting on both players' turns. On your turn, it's 2 CB to actually do your full 5 attacks, so are you going to be able to do that? You know, then you don't have counterblast left over for your Asmodee and stuff like that, so you need to sort of see that. But obviously lots of cards still to come. In particular, we have seen basically none of the Blitz orders to make Tetsu's ability make sense, so we've definitely still got loads to come from there. On Yamigeto's side, just some better Thundermines would be great, just some like slightly more generic ones, like when your opponent attacks or something, like just if we get a Thundermine like that, then I think we're basically sorted. The deck does have countercharge now, thanks to the heal trigger. It's not ideal, but it's something, and if that's all it gets, that's fine. And then lastly, I think the deck needs just some way to get back Yamigetos from your drop zone, because obviously once they go, it can be a bit hard to get them back, in particular if you run out of all of them, right, if you sort of jam everything into Soul. But otherwise, I think, you know, I'm super, super excited for both of these decks. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I think these are both drum tier. I think they have different like interesting matchups, but like I think these can be talked about in the same sentence as drum, which is great. It's a breath of fresh air compared to what we were talking about last week, so last time. But there we go, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, subscribe to the channel for the last one of these when that comes out. We'll talk about Ein, and we'll talk about all of the other cards, and just sort of a general meta look, and then some of the high rarity stuff. And yeah, subscribe if you're interested. Let me know what you think, and I hope to see you guys then. Cheers.